$260 billion have left JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citi in 1 year. You've got to understand what is going on right now as we speak. People are taking their money out of banks because they are distrustful. The current system that is well established is not so well established as most people seem to believe. In reality, guys, I've said this tons of times before, if you start looking into the banking system, it doesn't make sense. Funny enough, it's actually like an FTX 2.0 where they've not got your money if you want to cash it all out. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very interesting episode today, and that's why I'm telling you, make sure you go ahead and press that like button on this video. You've got absolutely nothing to lose, and hopefully you learn a thing or two. Anyway, the reason I'm showing you guys that number is because I just saw this article and I could do nothing but laugh. Don't get me started on Bitcoins, says the Berkshire Hathaway Charlie Munger, as he calls crypto the stupidest investment I ever saw. He just said that a couple of days ago as he was criticizing all the hype around AI and of course around crypto. Specifically speaking at Zoom's Zoomtopia conference, Munger stated that the AI sector is receiving more attention than it deserves. He acknowledged AI's importance and its long existence, which dates back all the way to the 1950s, but voiced doubts about its potential to bring about a utopian future. Now, that on its own is not a hot take. It's not something crazy because I can definitely see many futures where AI just brings dystopia, all right? Even though people are smarter. The internet is one pile of just hot garbage if everything is generated with AI. The seasoned investor also dismissed the notion that AI could cure diseases like cancer and expressed skepticism about the tech's overall impact on society. Now, I don't really care too much about his thoughts on AI. I cared mostly about his thoughts on Bitcoin. And he basically called it the stupidest investment ever and predicted that most cryptos would lose their value completely. Again, I'll agree partially, saying most cryptos indeed will lose all of its value. It's about that 1% that exists because in theory, most stocks lose their value as well. Most businesses fail. Most marriages fail. It's about the ones that last. And Munger, a longtime critic of crypto, had previously compared all Bitcoin to rat poison and other cryptos to a venereal disease. Don't get me started on Bitcoin. Stupidest investment I ever saw, he said, adding most of these investments are going to zero. Now, where things get slightly more interesting, though, is when you kind of scroll down a little bit. Warren Buffett calling it gambling token. What's his name again? Bill Gates, I think, called it rat poison squared. Or was it also Warren Buffett, actually? Not 100% sure on who said what. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon saying it's like owning a pet rock. And ladies and gentlemen, this man right here, just for a quick little reference, all right, is about 90 years old, 95 years old, something like that. Just want to quickly put that into y'all's head. If you really start looking into what Berkshire Hathaway owns, though, just kind of keeping up to date with some of their investments, what you'll notice is that a very high proportion of their portfolio, all right, 1/12 of their entire portfolio is Bank of America Corp. Now, I think it's quite peculiar what a lot of these companies seem to be doing. Another big part is Citigroup, and there's probably a lot of other banks in this list right here, but you understand the notion. I think it's interesting what some of these guys are doing. I think it's similar to BlackRock, etc. Hear me out. BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink in 2017 said, hey, Bitcoin, garbage. A couple years later, all of a sudden, he's a very big fan just after they started to make these solutions to hold crypto or trade crypto, whatever. Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, well, he said a lot of bad things about crypto. But if we look at JP Morgan, they're doing a lot in the crypto realm. This has two sides. On the one hand, he's mostly just talking about Bitcoin, not crypto, to where you can say, well, they're bullish on digital currency, just not on Bitcoin. Or the opposite side, point number two, is that they're showing just negativity, right? I'm not sure dissent, not sure what the best word in English would be. Again, not a native English speaker, for all of you that do not know. And perhaps that's all just to make you believe they're bearish, while in reality they're building the rails in the background, just like how BlackRock did it, just like how Donald Trump showed a lot of disdain, what's the best word? Just negativity towards crypto, but in the middle, he did give away his license, he did make a couple $1 million from it, and I really think if he sat down, he's not that much against it, but just showing a lot of negativity and hostility towards it. Which brings me to the point. I mean, it does literally make sense though. Let's say you've got billions of dollars into banks, right? Who are publicly saying they don't like crypto too much. Even though Bank of America is very well connected with Ripple, and in the crypto realm, they're doing a lot, at least they're trying to. But it will make sense if you're already noticing so much money is flowing out of your system. We've seen Chase as well, from JP Morgan and Chase, block cryptocurrency payments for alleged scams. Sure, you can see the outflows. I understand from these guys' side that they'd be against it, and I can understand why he'd show these negative views. It's the stupidest investment ever because, well, you don't want people to leave your ecosystem, right? You don't want the rats to leave your little Garden of Eden. The numbers that they're throwing out here are pretty scary, guys. For example, we have 4,100 regional banks in America. Probably in the next 3 years, it'll be down to 2,000. They're going to consolidate. Those numbers are wild. People are very nervous about putting their money in the bank because if another one fails and you have cash in there, right now you're only guaranteed for about $250,000, which to a lot of people is crazy high, right? You're like, oh, no problem, that's all good. But what if you got $40 million in your bank account and you're only guaranteed to get $250,000? Yeah, that's definitely not a good deal. Anyway, with regards to what's coming up, we've got another inflation meeting / inflation announcement coming out on the 12th of October. And for the most part, this is going to be yet another game changer. The expectation is that the inflation rate is going down ever so slightly on the core, and on the traditional inflation rate, it's actually going to slightly go up from 3.7 to 3.8. And as you can see here, core from 4.3 to 4.1. Point being though, guys, the whole economy is in such a bad spot, or rather in a very strange spot. These billionaires know it too. I mean, we've seen Apple CEO sell massive amounts of stock. $100 million just now. And we've seen many of these reports which state that a lot of these stocks that have been doing so extremely well for a good while, they're trading at 30, 40 times the actual value it should be at, well, like Apple, are most likely not going to do so well in a time where you're not expecting things to go exponential anymore. Or rather, a lot of these stocks, they do so increasingly well because we expect the economy to continue on booming. That's basically what you've got in a bull market, or generally a good market. But that's not necessarily what we're in anymore. We all know the impending crash, the imminent crash, it's about to happen. But every time you look at the charts, it's not there just quite yet. And that's the funniest part about it all. Realistically speaking, all the numbers I've showcased, we're in garbage territory. Things are so bad. Yet, things continue to do well. If you look at the freaking US debt, it's increased by, what, $500 billion in a week or two? It's not good. It's very, very bad. And so it seems these guys are just pulling whatever strings they can to try and keep the money inside their system because they've seen it flow out like crazy. That's what I personally believe is going on here. If you've got a different theory, please enlighten me in the comment section down below. But I will never tell you the banking system is a scam. What I will tell you, though, is that we, at the bottom of the barrel, are being taken for fools participating in the banking system because you're not really getting the benefits that most of the guys at the other end are getting. And so for most people, it's as bad as a scam. You don't really get any benefits, but there are a lot of downsides. You just don't think about them properly. And that's why the value proposition of crypto is pretty solid. Even if you just keep stablecoins, obviously you're trusting the stablecoin issuer, unless you go for some algorithmic ones. But there, at least you can hold them in your own vault, your own wallet, your own accounts. There needs to be no insurance because you've got it all in your pocket, basically. And I like that idea so much about the concept of decentralization. You just don't need any one single party to give you this insurance and give you all that garbage. Again, it's a little bit different when you're holding specific stable coins because they're still issued to pegged to a certain real currency, and they're still issued by a certain issuer, which might be centralized again, which can have its other downsides. But I really wonder as well, how many of my viewers here have actual bank accounts? A lot of people I know in crypto have 0 of them because you don't really need it anymore. If you, for example, are based in Dubai, you don't need one for your home. You don't need one for your car. You don't need one for insurance. You don't need it for anything I can really think of here. No, you don't really need it for anything that I can think of. No rent, no car, no insurance, no company setup, no visa. Some of these you might not be able to buy direct, right? You might need to go use somebody or some service. But there are so many companies who facilitate that transfer that if you don't want to have a bank account, you still don't need to ever use one. Again, there might be a single step in the middle sometimes, but it's a matter of, can you do everything in a pretty easy manner? Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I don't really think about that too often. The fact that you really don't need a bank. Crazy how times are changing, huh? From not even knowing what a bank is to needing a bank for almost anything out there to now, again, going back to times where you don't really need it. What an interesting paradigm shift. But you know what? That was my quick little update on the crazy situation that's currently ongoing. Just this billionaire man. I wanted to quickly give y'all his thoughts because I think he's bullshitting all of us. But hey, that's about it.